Loyola starting goalie said, "I'm Luke, and I am your father." The force was very much with Luke Stout and the Loyola defense and their win over #1 Maryland. But today, Johns Hopkins takes the Imperial March over from the dark side of Charles Street as the Hounds try to make it 2 wins in as many tries against Big Ten foes. So do or do not join us on the Patriot League on ESPN here at Ridley Athletic Complex. There is no try. Glenn Clark alongside Chris Gunkel. Chris, let's meet our players to watch. We begin with the visitors and Russell Melendez.
Local product from Archbishop Spalding High School. Current Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. Had a career-high 4 goals against Georgetown.
He certainly did, and of course, they started off so strong, 3-0 on the season, thanks in part to his performance. For the Greyhounds, we mentioned him at the top, Luke Stout.
And he was stout last week, Glenn. The current Inside Lacrosse Player of the Week. Registered 19 saves against the Terps.
Not a bad way to start the season. He was seeing the ball so incredibly well, stopping 73% of the shots that he had faced. A few other things you should know coming into today's game. It wasn't just the defense. Efficient offense for Loyola in that season-opening win, shooting 46% against Maryland. Hopkins playing 4 straight games against ranked opponents to start the season. They lost to Carolina on Tuesday. Greyhounds held Maryland to just 7 goals. And this is the 59th all-time meeting between Loyola and Johns Hopkins. Another amazing atmosphere this week as Loyola and Johns Hopkins square off in Baltimore. What a way for us to start the season, Chris Gunkel. Maryland last week, Hopkins this week. Can't ask for a lot better than this if you're a lacrosse fan.
Maybe just a slight increase in the temperature,
Maybe,
Glenn. But
yeah.
In terms of matchups and environment, I can't disagree. It's electric again here at Ridley.
Hounds in the white shirts, the white shorts, and the evergreen numerals. Hopkins in their black shirts, black shorts, the baby blue with numerals. Hopkins will be moving right to left on your internet dial here in this first quarter. Loyola from left to right. This is the storyline for everything that Loyola did well last week. They were not great at the X. Now, of course, they were facing Lou Weirman last week, and a lot of teams are going to have those struggles this season. But for Eric Pacheco and Loyola, an opportunity to improve upon that here today. You see the 2 goalies, Luke Stout, Tim Marcille, both off to great starts as we are underway. And how do you like that? Eric Pacheco comes away with the opening faceoff.
Boy, he deserves it. As you said, after last week, he's coming in at 18% here, Glenn. I'm assuming that'll go up just a tad today.
A rough start to the season. Your starters for the Hounds on the attack. Couple of freshmen, Matthew Minikis and Henry Haberman, joined by Davis Lindsay. First midfield, Evan James, Seth Higgins back, and Adam Patra. Defensively, Cam Wires, Matt Hughes, and Alex Bean. As we mentioned, in goal, Luke Stout. We talked about the efficiency of the Loyola offense in week 1. What did you like most about what you saw from the Hounds?
Well, their shooting percentage, Glenn, particularly on goal, was lights out. And that was a result of getting players in the right places at the right time and getting their hands free. They also did a really nice job of working off ball. Let's see if that continues here today.
Minikis will keep it moving to the outside. Loyola working a little deeper in the clock. Boy, that was a kind of surprising shot from there. Low shot saved by Marcille. And Hopkins in transition with an opportunity. And another one. How about Luke Stout?
Great save there by Stout, but even better job with the rebound. As you see, Stout's trying to get the Greyhounds running. And you can see this electric environment, Glenn, is also happening on the field as well, as the teams are going up and down and up and down.
Evan James on one side, Garrick Degnan on the other side, both stopped in the early going of this one. 2 goalies who have both been outstanding. Bring this up, Luke Stout, of course, we mentioned, National Player of the Week, Patriot League Goalkeeper of the Week, 19 saves in week 1. But Tim Marcille, 3 straight games with 15 or more saves coming into today. He's been awesome.
He really has. Kind of a local product out of Gonzaga High School in D.C.
Shooting low, Marcille again, this time denying Murphy.
And Marcille seems to be seeing the ball very well. Plays with a flat arc. Great shots there by Loyola, but Marcille even better.
I think I just saw a Loyola legend out in the hallway a second ago. See if maybe See, Pat Spencer is in attendance at today's game. Of course, one of the greatest players, not only in Loyola history, but frankly in the history of the sport.
So, Glenn, we have some changes on attack for Hopkins.
Yes, we should point out that our player to watch, not playing, unfortunately, today, Russell Melendez is out, as is Jacob Angelis for the Blue Jays. So Hopkins starts Dylan Bauer and Brendan Grimes today on the attack, along with Garrett Degnan.
Now the Grimes switch is a change, but for those that follow sport know that the local product from Boys Latin had played attack most of his career. So really, the change coming to midfield was the greater one.
Cam Wires with the caused turnover, ground ball for Peyton Razanka. Razanka is going to take it upon himself to go get it downfield as they got it out of the stick of Peshko.
Yeah, what you're seeing defensively, and that's from a very large defense, Glenn. The Hopkins defense is huge across the board, applying a lot of pressure on ball. We didn't see that a lot last week with Maryland. Gave the Loyola attackmen an opportunity to execute and do what they want, get their hands free. Not so much so far at the start of this game.
The other starters for Johns Hopkins, to your point, we brought up Degnan, Grimes, and Bauer, Matt Collison, Cameron Chauvet, Jonathan Peshko as the Greyhounds get on the board first.
Looking at the scouting report coming into this game, Glenn, that was what Loyola wanted to do a lot of, which is what a lot of off-ball play, a lot of cutters, taking advantage of Hopkins' slow feet defensively, and you see there a great job on that execution.
Patra to James.
Evan James gets the Greyhounds on the board.
For James, first of the day, fourth of the season. He had a hat trick in the opener against Maryland. For Patra, his first assist on the year and his third point on the season. 3.5 minutes gone by, and Pacheco follows it up with a face-off win. He's got a step. Pacheco all the way inside, and he gets it to go.
Boy, Pacheco, and you noted this earlier, came in at 18%. Well, he's won the first two, and that one kind of ended up in no man's land, right, where he committed as Hopkins opts not to slide as he comes down Charles Street. Marcial gets a hand on it, but unfortunately, ball trickles in.
We're going to see a different face-off specialist for Hopkins. Instead of Dunn, they're going to go with Logan Callahan this time. After the first two went the way of Pacheco, including that goal, his first of the season for the senior, takes over as the primary face-off guy, and there's Logan Callahan, 13 of 21 on the year. He steps in, had a big performance in the third quarter in the season opener against Jacksonville. He went 6 for 6 as Johns Hopkins was able to pull away in that game.
It's just early in the first period, but big play there by Callahan because Loyola had momentum. He was able to win the face-off, win the draw, kind of slow things down a little bit with the Greyhounds.
Stuart Phillips gets around Sherwood, but the trail check from Sherwood gets it on the turf. Hopkins able to get it back.
Now, we spoke about this a lot last week, Glenn, but the need to get first-time ground balls. That's going to be even more prevalent today as Hopkins really great in transition. They like to play 5-on-5. Giving them an extra opportunity here is not optimal for the Greyhounds.
The ground ball stats a week ago against Maryland very much skewed towards the Terrapins. We talked about it on the broadcast, so much of that being the face-off dominance that Maryland had in that game.
This defense today is going to have great spacing and communicate very, very well.
In front, turnaround shot off the pipe. Good look, kind of out of nowhere there for Grimes.
As I said, Grimes is very adept at attack. Very high recruit, again, coming out of Boys Latin. This is a change for him only from position. He's very, very comfortable at attack.
Alex Bean defending. What a game Alex Bean had in the opener. 5 ground balls and a caused turnover. It was one of the great performances we've ever seen from the Loyola defense in week 1. Of course, Charlie Toomey brought up after the game, hey, the last time we played a big game against Maryland, we were pretty good defensively too, of course, back in 2012, but that was brilliant from the Loyola defense in the season opener against the Terps. James will bring it back towards, nope, he will not. He'll send it back behind as Loyola already leading 2-0.
So with this style of defense, Loyola is going to have to prove, Glenn, that they can win these matchups. This is a good matchup for them. Minikis with the short stick. If not, they're going to have to be really adept with off-ball play. A lot of picks, a lot of cutters.
It's Juronski defending him. Minikis shoots low. There's not. Is the backup there? Yeah, it is. That was close.
Nice job there by Haberman. 15 seconds left on the shot clock.
I was going to have to work quickly here. And already in front 2-0. trying to start 2-0 on the year.
That's a
Hopkins.
good matchup for Loyola.
Pass not on target, and just 5 seconds left. They're going to have to chuck it to the corner. It's exactly what they'll do. Patra will just lob it over there.
I thought Higgins really had an opportunity to either invert or take it to the cage directly. He opts to a difficult pass of going behind him. I'd like to see him continue to be as aggressive as he finished the season last year.
And the Blue Jays are just going to throw it away. Jays came into the season pretty effective clearing the ball, 85.5%. A week ago, Maryland was 17 of 18.
You'd like to see that number closer to 90 early in the season. It usually is a little bit lower, but let's see how that progresses throughout the year. But closer to 90 is more optimal.
And that was a purely unforced error on that turnover. Open in the middle, good fake, and then Haberman shoots wide.
That's really Haberman's game, and he's not going to be a great dodger, but he's got great hands, and he's really great in tight spaces as getting his hands free.
Restart. Loyola, lots of time. Still a better part of 60 seconds on the shot clock. Leading 2-0. They got off to an early lead last week against Maryland. Were able to stay in front the entire time. One of the things John Tillman talked about after the game, they just were never able to get over the hump. Felt like they could just get back in front. They could completely turn the tide in that game. Never did it. Loyola playing from in front again this week. That ball's on the turf. Still being battled for. Murphy in there trying to scoop it back up, and he's able to find some help in Minikis. Minikis actually had some room. Instead, sends it right down inside. But Marcial there again.
Wonderful play there by Marcial, as you can see. Really calm, great positioning, fantastic hands.
Denies Davis Lindsay on the doorstep to keep it 2-0.
Let's see what Hopkins chooses to do here. You got number 4, Liam Bateman, where they call a timeout. Liam Bateman was stuck on the field. Hopkins opts to call a timeout.
Loyola off to a good start. They're in front 2-0, 7:22 to play here in the first quarter. Patra to James for the first of the day. You're watching the Patriot League on ESPN.
Being ready,
like really ready,
it takes work.
It takes work. Discoveries take time.
Rough drafts are rough.
And drills, they drill you.
But no matter the field,
Greyhounds never stop, always going the distance, together.
we're not just ready. We're Loyola ready.
Years, 4 generations, repairing your car the right way. Holland Shades, since 1939, providing the highest standard of car repair and maintenance.
What is a team? It's people coming together for a common purpose, for a common goal, to win.
PenFed is the official credit union of the Patriot League. TIAA is the official retirement planning partner of the Patriot League. Herff Jones is proud to be the official championship ring partner of the Patriot League. 2-0, Loyola on top of Johns Hopkins. It's Blue Jays ball out of the timeout. 7:22 to play in the first quarter. Glenn Clark, Chris Gunkel with you from Ridley Athletic Complex here in Baltimore. Loyola picking up where they left off defensively.
So far they have, Glenn. They've communicated well with this Hopkins style of defense. It likes a lot of down picks, a lot of screens. Spacing has been great.
Collison nearly throws it away. Good snag by Bauer to keep it alive for the Blue Jays. Of course, part of the story we mentioned at the top, Johns Hopkins depleted today offensively without Melendez or Angeles. What do they do to make up for it today, Chris?
Well, I think first and foremost you have two good replacements down on attack in Bowers and Grimes. I think what you'll see from a midfield standpoint, it'll become midfield by committee. They may look at matchups to determine who plays more, but it may just be, Glenn, who plays hot right now.
Charvet had Mustang Sally all over him. Mustang Sally, another player who was excellent, including his first career goal in the opener. Opportunity to get that out of the stick. Wire's not able to do it. And that was a shot, I think.
I don't understand what the indecision would be. It looked like they were finding a man on the crease. Loyola ball. That was the right call.
There you go. And you can see Luke Stout was fired up. He was hot about that one. Let's get it right.
Nice clear by Loyola, and I don't say that lightly. Hopkins typically applies a lot of pressure on the ride. So far, Loyola has done a nice job with it. Now, what we may see again, Glenn, is Hopkins go to a 10-man ride, which Maryland incorporated last week, and Loyola really struggled with that. I expect Loyola to be more prepared this week if that happens.
It certainly was an issue. Of course, speaking of the 10-man ride, Hopkins in that loss to Carolina on Tuesday, Tim Marcille, their goalie, scored against the 10-man ride. First time a Hopkins goalie had scored since all the way back in 1986. Loyola with the 2-0 advantage. James moves to Patra.
You see there, when Loyola is driving from behind, dodging from behind, the slide comes quickly from the crease for Hopkins.
Patra with the skip pass. Tough angle. Davis Lindsay decided to pull the
trigger. That one might have hit Kennedy Krieger.
I think I parked over there, by the way. I hope it didn't hit my car.
Do you hear your alarm?
Right. Not from here.
This is a nice matchup here for Loyola.
Got to go quickly. 10 seconds in the shot clock. Top, underneath, good look, but Marcille again, this time denying Minikis. Resets the shot clock, but the ground ball still being battled for. It's going to stay with the Hounds.
And more importantly, it's a reset of the shot clock, so a fresh 60 for the Greyhound offense.
Evan James with it off the restart. But what makes Marcille so good, Chris?
Well, he has great spacing, but he has wonderful hands, and as you've seen so far, he's done a nice job keeping Hopkins in it, as been hit with a lot of pressure. But he has wonderful hands.
Patra trying to get free, comes back to his right,
and you see he really wants that left.
Ooh, that's a dangerous pass to the middle, hits the turf. Almost a little bit of a buddy pass there. Getting open low and scoring low to low is Minikis.
Well, that's really a shame for Marcille because of how he's gotten started and what the job he's doing defensively. But it comes back to something I've been harping on for 2 weeks now: is first-time ground balls. Yep. When you play at this level of competition and you create an unsettled situation for the other team, it's dangerous. It's incredibly dangerous.
Minikis was just in wide open, just north of goal line extended. Puts it home off the feed from Lindsay. Minikis' first of the day makes it 3-0 with 4.5 to play.
And I love what Minikis did there. I mean, he ended up going low to low, but he's changing the plane of his shot to try to cause some confusion or doubt for Marcille.
It's his third goal on the season. And it looks like Callahan again out there for the faceoff for the Blue Jays. This time it's going to be the Greyhounds that come away with it. The ground ball pickup by Diego Roman.
Nice job there by Roman. You also see Scott Middleton, number 44, play the wing for Loyola, but Roman having a nice start to the season.
3 caused turnovers last week against Maryland. New starter for the Hounds this year, making an immediate impact. It's interesting you bring up ground balls. I talked to Peter Milliman, Johns Hopkins coach, before the season began, and I said, what do you think is the single biggest difference between where you are is that one will not quite get back to midfield and allow Liam Bateman to track it down. biggest difference between where you are and where you want to be? What'll make the difference this season? He said, very simply, if we get more ground balls.
Yeah, I mean, they've been talking about the importance of ground balls in the game of lacrosse since it started, but a lot of times, Glenn, it's not only getting the ground ball, it's the situation when you get the ground balls. It's where are you in field when you get them? Is it a 50-50 ground ball that's important in the game? That's probably more what Coach Milliman was discussing. He just did a great job there by Marcel taking matters into his own hands.
After the double, and that's so dangerous, right, Chris? If Marcel doesn't play that cleanly, the goal is wide open.
See Hopkins, off that first pass, doing a down screen to Degnan. Nothing there. Nice job by Loyola. Good preparation defensively.
3-0, Hounds in front. 3 minutes to play in this first quarter. Johns Hopkins trying to dig in, solve this Loyola defense, which has been unbelievable to start the season. And it's everywhere, right? It's the short stick D-middies. It's the long poles. It's the close defenders. I mean, everyone has really been outstanding to start the year. Inside, that one deflected, backed up.
Yeah, fresh 60 now for Hopkins as they maintain possession.
Degnan, such a lethal shooter.
This is they had Hughes on Grimes. I think this is the better matchup for the Greyhounds. Yeah, Wires on Grimes.
2.5 remaining. The reset because Stout got part of that. It's knocked down, loose in front. Stout will take it himself.
Good decision there by Stout. He had Middleton wide open. Opted not to give it to him on the break. Nice job there as they get it to Patra coming out of the box.
Patra will bring it in. As the Greyhounds have this opportunity to stretch this lead out here before the end of the first quarter.
Just under 2 minutes left to go here in the first quarter.
Put some distance. Mentioned at the top, 59th all-time meeting between these programs. Loyola's just won 9 of them all-time, but they've been much better in recent years. Higgins in trouble, able to hold on to the ball somehow. Scramble situation, Patra thought about it. Doesn't release. Now he gets going on the run, shoots low. Marcel again.
Boy, I thought Loyola was destined for a goal there. She saw a great hitch move there by Patra. Typically, you do that, you got a goalie that's going to have to move side to side. Marcel, great save, all side low.
Take a look at this again. Patra. Marcel has been on his game. Think about how much worse this could be for Johns Hopkins right now. Loyola's already taken 11 shots, 8 of which have been on goal. 5 first quarter
appears
saves.
right now if you're going to beat Marcel, you're going to have to beat him with that extra pass to get him out of position. If you have room and time, it looks like he's seeing it clearly.
Chauvet drops it back off. Loyola's won 6 of the last 8 in this series. However, it was Hopkins a year ago coming away with an 11-10 victory at Homewood Field.
You know what Hopkins does with these downscreen picks, and kind of what I call fade passes, it forces the defense to take great angles as they come out to meet the ball. And that's sometimes very difficult as you get tired in a defensive possession.
10-second difference between shot clock and game clock. Although I don't think Hopkins is thinking about that. They just got to get a good look and try to get on the board. Running shot, and that one will go. A bouncer off the stick of Brendan Grimes.
Well, see, that's what those down screens caused. It caused a mismatch there. You had Grimes being covered by Sherwood. That's going to be a difficult matchup there for a short stick. So Sherwood lets Grimes, as you can see here, get to the middle of the field. Loyola defensively has to recognize that, and I'm assuming they're going to want to slide quickly with a long pole if possible. Slide comes way too late. Nice shot there by Grimes with the bounce shot.
The bounce really ate up Luke Stout. First goal of the day for Grimes, 4th of the season. Now has 6 points on the year. Hopkins.
Yeah, and credit Marcel. Like, this could be a lot worse.
Yep.
3-1. Hopkins is clearly still in it. It could have been a lot worse if it wasn't for his play.
And Callahan out there for a 3rd straight faceoff wins this one. So Hopkins with a chance to get even closer before the end of the quarter. Not a lot of time to operate with. 15 seconds.
Bad decision there by Hopkins. They had a 5-on-4 if they wanted it. Didn't take advantage of it.
Peshko sends it back behind. Wires comes and meets the ball to the middle, stepping into a shot not on target. Collison.
1.4 left to go here in the first period.
All you can do is dump it in front and see what happens.
I'm assuming they'll have a set play, particularly with a lot of the Canadian-style players. All they need is just a sliver of an opening.
And that
as you
will
can
be
see
how-
right there, to get their hands free for a potential shot.
Good start for the Greyhounds today. They score the first 3, have a 3-1 advantage after 15 minutes. The battle for Charles Street, neighboring schools right here in Baltimore. One of the great rivalries in college lacrosse. Loyola in front of Johns Hopkins early, thanks in part to the freshman, Matthew Minikas. You're watching the Patriot League on ESPN.
The Patriot League is dedicated to the development of the student athlete through excellence in athletic competition, challenging academics, personal growth, and contributions within their communities. The Patriot League places among the NCAA leaders in graduation rates annually, with graduates moving on to serve in all facets of society by using their talents and voices for positive change. We are today's scholar athletes. We are tomorrow's leaders. We are the Patriot League.
So I said, serve my country and give my life structure. Win-win. What about you?
Well, I just wanted a great rate on an auto loan from PenFed. I can save thousands over the life of the loan, you know? So I just joined.
But you know, you don't have to be in or have served in the military to get a great rate from PenFed, right?
Huh.
For a limited time, get a $350 bonus with the PenFed car buying service. Apply at PenFed.org/350bonus.
PenFed's got great rates for everyone.
The fastest sport on 2 feet just got faster. Stream the 2023 PLL Championship Series from Wednesday to Sunday on ESPN+. Loyola on top of Johns Hopkins 3-1 as we start the second quarter here at Ridley Athletic Complex. Glenn Clark alongside Chris Gunkel. Patriot League on ESPN. Hopkins is going to ride the hot hand. They'll send Callahan back out there again, Chris. What has he done maybe a little bit differently that's provided them some success?
Well, I think one of the things that he's done is, even if he doesn't win it clean, he's created kind of a scrum there at the X, and he's done a real nice job getting possession of it. As you see here, put his team in a position to get possession.
Boy, Pacheco being awfully aggressive, throwing some checks. And it's going to go the other way, belong to Hopkins.
One of the interesting things there so far about Hopkins, Glenn, this season is the second period has typically been their period where they've outscored their opponents 13-8.
Big moment for Loyola to step in, continue to assert themselves. Hopkins on the season was just 51.4% the face-off coming in today, of course. Significantly better than Loyola was in the opener, and we're now even up 3-3 on the day. 5 saves from Luke Stout, from, of course, Tim Marcial, the other goalie in this game, really seemed to stand out as how it is that Hopkins has given themselves a chance to cut this to a 1-goal game again early in quarter number 2. Chris, thinking about that PLL Championship Series, big week, and that's a dangerous pass. It's just cleanly intercepted, taken away, transition opportunity for Hughes. He'll slow it down. Hughes, who was also great in the opener, 5 ground balls.
Like that pass there by Minikas is a fresh mistake. You just played a lot of defense, and he's trying to throw it to wires, and there was no need to do that.
Long pole shot, low,
and Loyola's got to try to take advantage of this as via long pole now has to sprint back.
Mazzone, the Georgetown transfer.
So they're not going to be able to do it, but something to think about now is, all right, Mazzone's going up and down. So do you try to isolate Minikas if it's in your offense and try to take advantage of potentially tired legs? Yeah, first period, Glenn, Loyola won the ground ball battle 11-4. We spoke about the importance of ground balls, but that created additional opportunities for them. But it didn't amount to much, as they only have a 3-1 advantage, as Marcio was fantastic.
Higgins has it checked out in there. Scott V. Smith causing the turnover. Well, we'll see. Yes, indeed. As the ground ball does indeed come away to the Jays.
Really just sloppy here offensively, Loyola, to start the second period. A miscue there by Minikis, and then Higgins taking it down the alley into the heart of the defense. I appreciate the aggressiveness, but at some point, 3-on-1 doesn't make a ton of sense.
Yeah, that math doesn't work. Raposo coming away with the ground ball in that situation. Chris, the PLL Championship Series this week, I feel like it's another big moment for this sport. Obviously, there's been a push for lacrosse to find its way into the Olympics via the sixes format. Be another opportunity to showcase it on a national scale. Ball was loose. Degnan not able to hold on to it. And Wires steps in, grabs it. He's got 3 black shirts all over him.
First time ground ball.
Bauer able to get it back from the Blue Jays.
Well, in the scouting report, it was highlighted that Hopkins in those scenarios is going to be incredibly aggressive. Wires does a nice job picking it up, throws it to Bean unable to handle the pressure. Another possession here for Hopkins.
We start to see, you mentioned this midfield by committee. There's Jamison Smith in there, we haven't seen a ton of this season. Luke Stout gets that one high. Bauer pulling the trigger. Stout denying him. Save number 3 on the day for Luke Stout. Greyhounds could use a settled possession here.
Yeah, they could. You see Hopkins applying a lot of pressure there, as Scott V. Smith putting a lot of pressure on the ball carrier. But I agree with you. Loyola could use a nice settled possession here.
There was a step, but Luke Murphy decides just to keep it moving instead.
Loyola's second midfield in.
Bateman trying to operate around the screen. Now one more change coming as they'll get Dylan Binney.
Loyola
comes in flying onto the field. Sometimes you get those legs moving, you have the opportunity to take advantage of it. But
Binney had a slight opportunity there to create a 2-on-1 scenario. Just not a bad decision, but could be more aggressive in the future.
Jaronski did well to hold his ground. That hits the turf, comes out of the stick of Minikis, and luckily for the Greyhounds, it's right back on the turf for James to go get it.
Maybe seeing a little bit of being a freshman here from Minikis.
Yep.
Some
Tough
things
start.
we didn't see last week in terms of unforced errors.
Of course, also had the nice finish on the goal back in the first quarter. 3rd on the year. But this is what you expect when you start 2 freshmen on attack, right? You're going to get some great stuff, and you're going to get some mistakes missed in as well.
Hopkins still opting to apply a lot of pressure to the ball carrier for Loyola, speeding them up, not giving him an opportunity maybe to run the offense in a manner that they'd like.
The shot clock reset because the ball was briefly turned over, and out of nowhere, shooting low and scoring, Dylan Binney.
Well, I actually, Glenn, was just going to be critical there because Binney receives it from the right, but he has the stick in his left hand. It takes away his opportunity to fire a shot quickly. Maybe that surprises Marcio as Binney goes low to low, but I didn't think he had a great angle there. Fantastic finish by him.
Dylan Binney's first goal of the season makes it 4-1 Greyhounds.
Marcio might have thought he was going one more, that he was going to make that next adjacent pass. He might have been confused there.
Caught him off guard. And you see this great crowd on hand today here at Ridley Athletic Complex. It's cold, but it has been an unbelievable atmosphere. Parking lots packed. Great tailgating before the day today. Just an awesome early season matchup. Pacheco had a chance at it, comes away with it. Again, it was Callahan
look at
out there.
his pressure immediately on Pacheco. He does a nice job getting away from it. Loyola settles down for another possession. Tough for Hopkins now as they just played a lot of defense.
Give Evan James the assist on that Binney goal. 2nd point of the day. First assist, 5th point on the season.
Austin Cote now in for Loyola.
And a stinger.
Maybe a situational substitution. Again, I don't know if this is a pattern or not, Glenn, but the past 2 goals have featured Marcel having to go from left to right. As you see here, is Higgins, a left-hander, lets it rip from the right. And again, maybe that surprises Marcel because the scout is a hard left-hand shooter, not a right-hander.
Higgins' first goal of the day, 2nd of the year, and his 4th point on the season. Loyola, back-to-back goals within the span of 30 seconds to stretch the lead out to their largest of the day at 5-1. Again, Callahan, they stuck with them.
Big possession there by Callahan, and a really big possession here for Hopkins.
Jack Howley, specialist on the wing, one of the captains for this Johns Hopkins team, keeps it moving. And now all of a sudden the Blue Jays could use a settled possession.
That they could.
6 minutes gone by in the second quarter. Seth Higgins, of course, the younger brother of Jake Higgins, who won a title with Maryland last year, plays for the Water Dogs in the PLL. Their older brother, Ben, won 2 Division II national titles during his career at Limestone. So what's the missing piece? Seth Higgins winning a national title this year, right?
That would be nice. Nice job there by Wires to stay on.
Wow, how did Peshko hold on to that ball? My word!
To stay on Grimes, and now you're going to have a penalty here on Loyola.
It was a lot.
As they do a number.
Yeah, Alex Bean came
on
in.
Peshko. Peshko might have gotten a 3 count on the mat on that one, as he was down for a while.
He got rocked. There's no question. And I think the problem is it continued after the shot was released.
Yeah.
So with 8:27 to play in the second quarter, Hopkins is going to go on the extra man for the first time today. They have not scored an extra man goal yet this season, Chris. 0 for 5 on the extra man on the year.
I noticed that, but Hopkins has some really talented stick handlers and shooters. The tradition at Hopkins is always to have great extra man units. Expect that to continue to progress throughout the season. Number 77, Josh Ferry, long stick defenseman out of Canada, is now in on man down for the Greyhounds.
Peyton Razonka is serving the 60-second unnecessary roughness penalty. Loyola a week ago was able to kill off 1 of 2 extra man opportunities for Maryland. And as we remember, they had the other one killed off, Chris. They just gave the ball back with a few seconds left in the penalty. And the Terps scored in transition.
So let's see how well the scout team did preparing this defense today.
Shot wide from
As
Grimes.
Loyola's man down for the first time. 31 seconds left in the man advantage for the Blue Jays.
Backed up, stays with Hopkins. Off the restart, Chauvette. Try to keep those slides coming.
Grimes is dangerous up top as a passer and a shooter.
They'll go the other way. Peshko right back to Grimes. Degnan. And that hits the turf. That'll kill just another second off, so under 10 seconds remaining on the extra man. And they're going to throw it away. So Loyola will kill off his first extra man opportunity of the day for Johns Hopkins.
Yeah, nice job there by Loyola's. Hopkins looked like they wanted to get something on the inside and was unable to do so. Nice clear there. Good decision by Sally.
It's going to be recorded as a cause turnover for Matt Hughes, and he's certainly not going to be opposed to taking it, but that really came off more as an unforced error than anything else.
I would agree. But to your point, you know, we don't know what they see down on the field, but Loyola does a great job of kicking, as they say, keeping their sticks in the lane.
Sure.
Which makes it difficult to make that next pass.
Austin Cote pointed out on the field, freshman from Mars, Pennsylvania, by way of Mars Area High School. A lot of freshmen getting involved for this Greyhounds team offensively. A couple of fakes. Oh, and another great save from Marcel as it looked like maybe Minikis found something there. You don't like the shot?
You just played a lot of defense, man down defense.
Sure.
It's a one-on-one from the wing. You don't want to have someone stop being aggressive. I think Loyola's style of offense, though, is not one-on-one play. It's
Ball movement.
Pass, move it to the next person, ball movement, pass, pick away.
Collison coming back towards the middle of the field. Collison has his hands free, but keeps it moving when his double was coming.
Excellent job there by Hughes, and an even better job there by Roman.
And Roman's in some trouble.
But Loyola's going to have numbers here if they move it one more, and they do.
So an opportunity pushing forward. Patra. He gets it back. No, he doesn't get it. He did get it back somehow.
Wow, that was a really slick two-man game from Patra and Minikis. Patra's usually really adept at finishing those. Maybe better to go overhand next time, Glenn?
Might make sense, but mostly things going well for the Greyhounds otherwise. They have scored the first 2 goals of this second quarter, and they've extended what was a 2-goal lead out to a 5-1 advantage. 5:45 to play in this second quarter. You're watching the Patriot League on ESPN. The Winter Patriot League Championships are live on ESPN+. Bucknell is hosting the 2023 Patriot League Men's and Women's Swimming and Diving Championships right now. And Navy will host next week's Patriot League Men's and Women's Indoor Track and Field Championships. Log on to patriotleague.tv for the live event listings. 5-1, Loyola in front of Johns Hopkins. Evan James with the ball in his stick off the reset. Great day at Ridley Athletic Complex. Glenn Clark, Chris Gunkel with you. Patriot League's on ESPN. Got a little sloppy there to start the second quarter, Chris.
Yes, they did, but then Loyola did a nice job settling back down, running more of a pure offensive set like you see here. You know, Glenn, you were speaking about the crowd. I think my favorite shot so far has been someone waving a Loyola flag with one of their crutches.
That's the ingenuity that's involved. Greyhounds able to hold on to it as they continue this possession, down under 30 seconds on the shot clock, and that is knocked out of the stick of Minikis.
That's just another mistake there by Minikis, as he has to know pressure is coming off the double. Stick has to be in his right hand. He has to be moving his feet. That provides possession back to Johns Hopkins as you see them continuing to apply a lot of on-ball pressure.
And quite the experience difference between Minikis and Mazzone. Mazzone, the Georgetown transfer, a 2-time All-American during his first 4 seasons with the Hoyas. Now making an immediate impact. He had 4 ground balls and a caused turnover against Carolina in that loss on Tuesday. One of the things that I was interested in today, Chris, was in watching that game, and our friends Mark Dixon and Quint Kesnick were on the call for that one on ESPNU. It really did feel like Johns Hopkins had control of that game early on, and that in the second half, it just sort of seemed like the daunting nature of their early season schedule kind of caught up with them. And we see his Greyhounds will take that away. Cam Wires comes up with it.
I tell you, Glenn, two great plays there. Patra on ball defensively, particularly being taken to goal line extended, and then what a interception there by Wires and to clear it on his own. Fantastic play there.
I mentioned I had that conversation with Peter Milliman before the season, and scheduling games like a Tuesday night game against North Carolina. I think they're playing Virginia on a Tuesday as well, as Loyola is going to take the time out here with 3:45 remaining in the first half. But he said, look, this is Johns Hopkins. We got to play those games. We're supposed to play those teams. But this is a really difficult way to start a season at Jacksonville, Georgetown, then 2 days later turning around and playing North Carolina. Now Loyola here today. Is it too much to ask early on in the year from a team to play a schedule that daunting?
Well, at a program like Hopkins, my first instinct is to say no, right? To his point, they're Hopkins, right? People expect those big matchups. That strength of schedule will benefit them later in the year as it comes to potentially making the playoffs and seeding. It also is going to help prepare his team for those tougher games. The conferences now, as you know, has made it very difficult to keep some of these matchups, and so you're forced to play a Tuesday night or a Wednesday nighter in order to get those games in.
And of course, some programs don't want to play those games, but as we see what's coming up for Loyola, also very daunting to start the season. You go 3 straight Big Ten opponents to begin the year for Loyola after Maryland last week, Hopkins today, and then on the road at Rutgers next week before traveling to Towson. Tough way to start non-conference schedule, but you know.
Not to mention the Patriot League is as difficult as it ever has been.
No question.
And then later in the year, Loyola will play Georgetown on the road, Duke on the road. 2 really difficult matchups, but again, it provides the team with great experience. And if you're a program like Loyola, if by chance you're fortunate to win one of those games or a couple of those games, it takes the pressure off of you having to win your league a little bit more.
That said, there is a renewed focus this year here at Loyola about winning the league, as none of these current players have ever won a Patriot League title. Out of the timeout, Greyhounds ball leading 5-1. Out shooting Hopkins 16-9 so far in this one. And if you weren't with us at the top, Hopkins a bit depleted.
So this is someone new for Loyola. You got Will McCullough, who's a freshman out of Northern Virginia. Tough situation coming off a timeout, has not played at all today.
Evan James gets inside, but he is met by 2 defenders as soon as he does.
And is asked now to come in a pretty pivotal moment and be the aggressor, as you see Coach Toomey wanting a penalty there on James.
Does not get the call. Lindsay trying to get free with just 15 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Dodges in front, sends it up top to Benny. Benny gets the double, and he gets it to go.
What a fantastic play by Benny, who is rising to the moment, Glenn, with his second goal of today. I was just getting ready to say Benny has to find the double team as Hopkins slides aggressively. And what does he do? He takes it upon himself. 5-hole against Marseille. Big goal there for the Greyhounds.
Second of the quarter, second of the season for Dylan Benny. Greyhounds have scored 3 straight here in the second quarter. They extend the lead out to 6-1 with 2:51 to play in the half. Back to the dot. Again, Callahan out there. This time it was Katona, however, for Loyola, and the Greyhounds, well, they had a shot at coming away with a face-off victory, but not able to hold on to the ball.
That is really uncharacteristic for Hughes.
No doubt.
Mistake.
So Chris Catone getting the look this time, the senior from Bel Air by way of Calvert Hall.
You know, sometimes if you're in that position like Hughes is, first of all, you have a long pole, you have to choke down on it, you got to move your hands, but you have a tendency to look up as you're trying to get a break going. You're worried about pressure. So Hopkins here gets a matchup that they want. As you have Sally now on Grimes, let's see how they try to take advantage of it and exploit it.
Feels like a pretty critical stretch here, these final 2 minutes for Johns Hopkins. Not that they have to try to get, 2 or something like that, but they can't let this get any further the other way. Running, that's deflected, but goes in anyway.
Yeah, it looks like it hit off of somebody in front of the crease.
Collison Get
big
his
goal
first
there
of the
by
day.
Hopkins, as you said, with 1:56 left to go here in the first half. Not a bad job on ball defensively by Loyola. You hate to see a player get to the middle of the field, which they do. Nice job there converting by Jonathan Peshko, the junior out of the Salisbury School.
So the goal for Collison, his first of the day, 4th of the year. The question was, I don't know if it was actually deflected in looking at it again, Chris, or if it was just the trail check maybe impacting it a little bit there.
It may have been. I mean, he was able to get, as I said, inside the teeth of the defense, but maybe to your point, the trail check did affect it, and it changed the trajectory of the shot.
And the face-off violation called against Callahan. First of the half for the Blue Jays. 1:50 to play. So the better part of a 30-second difference between shot clock and game clock. I would still think Loyola would be inclined, as they're going to take their second time out here. I would still think the Hounds would probably be inclined to try to run some clock here, Chris.
I think they would as well, Glenn. You know, to your point, 1:38 left to go, 63 seconds left on
2 game with 1:38 remaining in the second quarter. Coming up at the half, it is a doubleheader day today here at Ridley Athletic Complex, which is also part of the reason for the great atmosphere. These two schools will also meet in women's lacrosse following our game. And at halftime, we're going to take a look at how the Loyola women's lacrosse team has partnered up with the One Love Foundation, continuing to carry on the legacy of the late Yardley Love, of course, a Baltimore native and standout at Virginia. We'll look forward to that. Plus, we'll have stats and highlights all coming up here at the half with the Patriot League on ESPN.
Well, Glenn, I don't know what has caused Coach Toomey to be so incensed today, but
he's irate.
He really is. I mean, any opportunity he gets, it looks like he is letting the referees know his stance on a particular position.
And more looks at the crowd here at Ridley Athletic Complex.
And let's remember, Glenn, that most recent goal by Hopkins caused by Matt Hughes not getting that ground ball off the face-off, which gives them another possession. So critical. Ground balls, yes, but the situation highlights that even more.
You talk so much. That first-time ground balls. And that one was, again, to your point, maybe not routine, but, you know, given the level of play that we're talking about, that was probably about as routine as you're going to find a ground ball in that situation. And a veteran player, someone who you'd expect to handle that 10 times out of 10, but just so happened to be that one he wasn't able to come up with. Greyhounds ball out of the timeout. Patra will have it. Again, not in a rush, content, sit back and wait. When does he look to engage?
I think 15 is probably a right time to do so. That may give you an opportunity, if there's a mistake or rebound, to get another shot.
And briefly had the defender hung up, but by the time Lindsay got it, and that was no longer the case, and that pass towards the middle was...
It's just really sloppy offensively there for Loyola. I can't imagine that was the play coming out of the timeout. Now you're giving Hopkins another possession here with 48 seconds left to go. Again, if you're Lindsay, to me, it looks like he's trying a little too hard. He hasn't really been involved a lot today offensively. Love the aggressiveness, but better situational awareness is necessary for him moving forward.
40 seconds for the Blue Jays to go to work. Now down to 30. Peshko sends it over to Stuart Phillips. He's moved up the second midfield today. Phillips steps in, shot deflected.
Now to your point, great poke check there by Hughes to change that shot, because Phillips was wide open as there was some confusion there at Loyola as who is going to slide and when.
Now getting a step, getting in front, shooting high, Bauer. And again, I think that might have been just slightly impacted as well.
And you don't see that often when Wires getting beat cleanly off the first step. But to your point, just enough to cause Bauer to go high.
12 seconds, Peshko knocked out of the stick by Rizanka. Rizanka trying to make sure he can't get it back. Yard sale.
Just throw it, just throw it, just throw it.
And that'll be how the half will come to a close. Actually, getting something good on that was Middleton. Made it interesting, but Marcel handles it. And that's how quarter number 2 comes to an end. Loyola extends the lead in the second quarter. They led by as many as 5 as we hit the half. It's a 4-goal advantage. They're on top 6-2. That goal by Collison got it back to a 4-goal deficit. We will be back with stats and highlights after you find out about Loyola Women's Lacrosse partnership with One Love. That's next. The Patriot League is on ESPN. Back at Ridley Athletic Complex, Loyola in front of Johns Hopkins 6-2. Glenn Clark, Chris Gunkel with you, the Patriot League on ESPN. And we see that first half, Loyola out shooting Johns Hopkins 18 to 12, out ground balling them 18 to 14. Face-offs completely even, 5-5. But Loyola, for the most part, has earned this advantage they have at the half, Chris.
I think you're right, Glenn. I don't think Loyola is playing as cleanly as they did last week.
Sure.
As noted by 8 turnovers so far. But I would agree that they've earned this lead, particularly against a goaltender that's playing very well.
That's right. Of course, both goaltenders have played well, I would say. Both Marcel and Stout. 6 saves from Marcel, 5 for Stout in the first half. Take a look at the first half highlights. Loyola getting physical in the early going of this one. That one drew the penalty for Peyton Razanka, but there's Razanka getting the ball on the turf, making a statement. This Loyola defense really picking up where it left off a week ago.
It really has, and as you see here, one of the first goals of the game is Potter hits James coming off a nice screen on the inside. And then a couple surprise goals here as Benny beats Marcia left-handed for the conversion.
Collison, that ball impacted, but important goal for Johns Hopkins late in the half as Loyola had all the momentum. It was the other Benny goal. Great fake, spins, shoots low, scores. 6-2, Greyhounds in front. Second half is next. You're watching the Patriot League on ESPN. Follow the Patriot League on ESPN on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter at Patriot League TV for student-athlete features and great weekly content like top 3 plays of the week. Greyhounds moving left to right on your internet dial here in this third quarter. Blue Jays from right to left, 6-2, Loyola in front. This battle for Charles Street. Glenn Clark, Chris Gunkel with you. Eric Pacheco had a shot at a clean win, couldn't come up with it, but on the second try is able to get the ground ball, and Loyola has possession first to start this third quarter.
Yeah, nice job there by Pacheco, but Hopkins again applying a lot of pressure on ball.
And we've seen freshman Minikis just make a couple of mistakes today. James has his stick checked out and not able to come up with the ground ball either, so Hopkins will get it back.
Or they may not. This pace has been frenetic so far, and let the first team All-American try to settle things down, but nobody wants it at this point, Glenn.
Ball is just staying on the turf. Thought Razanka had it, then he lost it. Greyhounds ultimately come away with it, and a flag comes out. What was it?
My hunch is that maybe Hopkins was offside, number 77 coming out of the box. Nice job there by Middleton. So Loyola now can slow things down. They know they have a possession coming to them. 50 seconds left here on the shot clock.
And that's exactly what they do. Higgins Lays it back to Patra.
Yeah, Patra's kind of that slow and steady guy that you get to kind of calm things down.
Patra gets free inside, shoots low. Marcille able to gobble it up.
As I said, kind of that slow and steady guy that calms things down
and goes
then
right
goes
to work
the
as soon
cage.
as you say it.
Marcille has been great in that 5-hole area today. Loyola, I guess they're shooting to scout, has gone there a lot with little to no avail. I think Minikis may have got him there, and maybe Benny, but he's been really stout there.
Carson Brown came over and helped out on that too defensively for Johns Hopkins in order to make it a little bit. Sorry, I said Carson Brown. Yeah, actually, I think it might have been Carson Brown, number 11. It's exactly who it was that came over and helped out. So, 30-second man advantage for the Greyhounds. First man-up opportunity of the day. They were 1 for 2 a week ago against Maryland. Hopkins has killed off 3 of 4 man-up opportunities for opponents on the season. Patra moves to the middle.
A little exchange behind with Lindsay now getting it.
Greyhounds really not doing anything with the man-up. The final second, they get a shot off, but pretty good penalty kill there for Johns Hopkins as Evan James.
I mean, is it a, well, it's a, they killed the penalty, but Loyola really didn't force them to do much there. You know, again, like James, just take the possession at that point.
Marcille gets save number 8 on the day.
Let's see if Loyola locks on here. They do not. They don't recognize. Nice job there by Scott Smith, clearing under a lot of pressure as Hopkins has their first possession here in the second half.
2.5 minutes gone by in this third quarter. Loyola trying to improve to 2-0 on the year. Johns Hopkins trying to avoid falling to 500. They got a hole to dig out of trailing 6-2. Of course, they were trailing against Georgetown last Saturday in the second half and came back nicely. Loyola defense wants to have a say in this. Matt Hughes in the second try able to gobble it up, but he's in trouble along the sideline. Flag comes
That's
out.
what Coach Toomey has been pressing the referee on as the hits to the head, particularly in clearing situations there, as it looked like Grimes now is going to go to the box.
So again, Greyhounds with it, knowing that a penalty is coming and not using
and
any
again,
of the
I just
clock.
have to say, why would you do that when you have an opportunity here to get 58 seconds left on the shot clock? You have a tired defense. You know you have a possession coming to you, and you have a short stick D mid. He take a shot just inside the box.
And it's not a young player. That's a veteran. It's Mustang Sally, who scored a goal last week, his first career goal. But yeah, I'm with you, Chris. That definitely doesn't seem to be what you're looking for in that situation. Give Marcille another save, his 9th of the day, but Loyola will go on the extra man for the second time here in the third quarter, as Brendan Grimes will be called for that cross check. 1-minute penalty. And Peter Milliman wants some sort of explanation. Our officials today, Jeffrey Hoffman, Daniel Belk, Jimmy Barclow. And this is unreleasable, correct?
I believe you're correct.
So Loyola with a chance to maybe really open things up here.
I think what Loyola has, if it goes behind again, it's not the easiest pass, but a skip back up top to Higgins, as Hopkins is applying a lot of pressure on ball. You can see it right there.
Exactly what they do, and Higgins makes it count. Look at you, Nostradamus.
Well, you could just see it as the ball was behind the cage. The defensive Hopkins was getting sucked too far inside, almost as if they were worried about the inside play of Loyola. Great look and great conversion there by Higgins, as you're going to see the skip pass up top. Quick release, offside high, difficult play there for Marcille.
With the heat, Seth Higgins, 2nd of the day, 3rd of the season. Now has 5 points on the year. Davis Lindsay gets the assist.
So to your point, Hopkins still has a player in the box with 31 seconds left to go. Diego Roman by himself on the far sideline, on the far wing, excuse me.
It is Pacheco and Callahan again for Johns Hopkins. Dunn started the day, but Callahan took over, and Loyola gets the quick win as Roman, nobody there, picks up that ground ball. And they still have 22 seconds to man up here.
Great decision. No need to rush at this point. No need really to get a shot off with 15 seconds left to go. Just take the possession.
Loyola in front, 7-2. Minikis. Do you think he changed his mind there at the last second, Chris? Do you feel like he was thinking shot at the last second, said, let me keep this moving?
Looked like he was. I mean, looked like he was stepping in and then suddenly realized I don't have to take the shot. And another unforced error by him on the transfer behind the cage.
So Loyola does
kind of
convert.
a big play there, right? Like with Loyola momentum, having another possession.
They get the extra man goal, but end up giving it back. A gift to the Blue Jays. Trail 7-2.
He'll learn. He will learn, Glenn.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we talk about. It's a young player. You can see the talent. He's got 3 goals already.
And what's critical as in his development, if you're the coaching staff for Loyola, is you're going to have to take what you get for a period of time, right? You're going to have to let him continue to play. You don't want to stifle his aggressiveness.
Of course, worth pointing out, Loyola does expect to get Joey Kamish back at some point. He's making the move was Phillips. Cam Wires there to knock it out of his stick. Hughes comes away with the ground ball.
Great job there by Hughes. Great on-ball defense there by Max McGillicuddy, who's had, I think, a really nice game today.
Unsettled a bit. Greyhounds are not going to force the issue. Instead, work it back to McGillicuddy, and McGillicuddy delivers.
Well, I think probably surprised there is what you have to say by Marcios. McGillicuddy is not a shooter. Not a great angle, right hand from the right-hand slot, but that old-fashioned bounce shot seemed to surprise Marcio, as I'm thinking, don't do it, but he's rewarded with great on-ball defensive play with an opportunity to shoot and score.
Just the second goal of McGillicuddy's career, the short stick defensive midi from Connecticut. Had a couple of assists in the loss to Hopkins last year. He gets some attaboys over on the bench.
Well, he's just done a nice job with particularly playing on the ball screens and not getting beat at goal line extended. He's done a really nice job as Loyola pushes it forward, and now he's going to have another break.
Pacheco lays it off, shot high, backed up, stays with the Hounds. Boy, that felt like it could have been a backbreaker at that point.
No small thing there, but great job by Minikis on the backup, so Loyola maintains possession.
Haberman pulling the trigger, another freshman. Minikis got the assist on the McGillicuddy goal, his first career assist, second point of the day and 4th on the year. 9 minutes to play in the third quarter. Loyola has further stretched this lead out, largest of the day now at 8-2, and shot high. There is backup.
Yeah, Haberman getting into the mix. We haven't called his name a lot today as he comes off the screen up top and gets his hands free. Nice job there by Lindsay, taking that pressure, handling it, and finding Haberman up top.
Bateman around the screen from Benny.
Now they got the matchup. Now they have the matchup they want.
But Benny has it knocked out of his stick by Cody Ince.
Man, that's just sloppiness there by Benny. No need to do that.
Yeah. So an extra man coming for the Blue Jays.
And Loyola's going to have to be organized here as Hopkins has numbers on a break. But you have a tired Benny inside. But he's now going to get off. I wanted to see if Hopkins was going to recognize and try to keep him on.
Blue Jays again could use a settled possession as momentum's been on the side of the Hounds for a little while, but they also need to start scoring some goals. Trailing 8-2, still lots of time left, but dating back to the second half on Tuesday where they scored just 1 goal, I mean, this is over a full game's worth of play. Is that shot taken by Collison?
A little shocked at Ouch being slid so quickly, and if he does, he's going to have to take body there better.
Chris, we're talking about 4.5 quarters at this point, dating back to Tuesday, that Johns Hopkins has scored a total of 3 goals.
To that point, Glenn, though, Hopkins is going to be a man advantage. They're calling it an error on a substitution by Loyola. 30-second now advantage for Hopkins.
Hopkins so far 0 for 1 on the day, and as we pointed out earlier, still looking for their first extra man goal of the season. New offensive coordinator John Crawley trying to figure out a way to get his offense back to life, particularly without two of his top attackmen in Melendez and Angeles. Just 6 seconds remaining on the man up.
As you can see, they want that overloaded side.
Stepping down Dagnon right off the stick of Luke Stout.
A great job there by Rizanka, but they're going to get a lot of pressure, but he does a nice job finding Sally up front. Sally again, nice decision as Loyola going to have possession. Great job there, though, defensively, Glenn, as Hopkins wanted to go offside with it. And Hughes just did a really nice job of sliding quickly, getting his stick on their hands. Hopkins wasn't able to get their hands free as much as they would have liked.
Hounds now 3 for 4 in the young season, killing off penalties. Got the one shot. Dagnon got a good look. Stout able to protect.
He got a good look, but Glenn, there was no screen in front, so a high-to-high shot
Saw
there.
it the whole way.
He's going to give him an opportunity to see that the whole way. You're going to have to change planes there if you're going to put yourself in a better position to convert.
Davis Lindsay back behind. Sends it back up top. Loyola.
So I'd give it back to Lindsay.
Patra dodging left.
And now Loyola's going to get possession again as things have gotten a little bit sloppy here in the second half for Hopkins defensively.
I think frustration maybe settling in a little bit.
A little bit, but they're also trying to get possessions back.
Higgins' shot turned aside by Marcial nicely, but penalty coming.
It's going to be a hit to the face. It's going to be a 1-minute man advantage now for Loyola with 6:06 left to go here in the third quarter.
11th save of the day for Marcial. Chris, I want to point out that we mentioned he comes in having made 15 or more saves in all 3 games. The last goalie at Johns Hopkins to have 15 or more saves in 4 straight games was Jonathan Marcus back in 1996.
So it's been a while.
It's been a little bit. Loyola just converted. Extra man opportunity a minute ago. 1 for 2 on the day. Now 2 for 4 on the season. It's deflected, knocked down. Hounds
is
able to
really
hold on to it.
long and rangy defensively, and that's something they do really well.
Minikis feeds up top. Higgins steps in off target.
So Higgins now has gone with 3 or 4 high. It's tempting. But at this point, I think he needs to change the plane and start to make Marcial think a little bit more. 30 seconds left on this penalty.
Marcial's been really good low today, though. Higgins back to Patra, still 20 seconds. Underneath, Minikis. Ooh, he was trying to make a move to get inside, but he was just pushed off that path enough. 13 seconds. Shooting low and delivering. Murphy.
Great job there by Murphy. I think he shot it off the screen. As again, he kind of changed planes. As a 3-quarter shot, you can go low to high. He opts to go low as you see a dejected Marcial in the cage. But Loyola does a nice job moving. As you see, he goes through 2 screens to beat Marcial low. Great job there by Murphy.
First career goal for Luke Murphy. Makes it 9-2 Greyhounds. 5:15 to play in the third quarter. You're watching the Patriot League on ESPN.
Being ready,
Like, really ready?
it takes work.
It takes work. Discoveries take time.
Rough drafts are rough.
And drills, they drill you.
But no matter the field,
Greyhounds never stop. Always going the distance. Together.
we're not just ready. We're Loyola ready.
What is a team? It's people coming together for a common purpose, for a common goal, to win.
Care for Loyola's 18 NCAA Division I sports teams. Visit lightbridgehealth.org/Loyola for more. Fence Masters is the official fencing company of Loyola Athletics and has been working hard in your yard for over 30 years. A pair of extra man goals for the Greyhounds here in the third quarter as they have extended the lead out to 9-2 with 5:15 to play. Glenn Clark, Chris Gunkel with you from Ridley Athletic Complex. Loyola has not been, I don't know, brilliant necessarily today, Chris, but here they are in front by 7 as we work deep into this game.
They've been very good defensively, though, Glenn. Again, Hopkins employs a system that makes it really challenging for you defensively. You have to communicate really well. You have to be disciplined in your matchups. They've done a really nice job there. Maybe not as clean on the first time ground balls as last week, but that was a pretty high expectation based on that performance. But they've been, clean enough in order to be where they are right now.
Peter Milliman is really stuck with Callahan after those first couple of the day went the wrong way. It has been a steady diet of Logan Callahan at the faceoff dot, and he has battled quite well. Pretty even since those first two.
Looks like a Colton Marquis is in now on attack for Hopkins, number 92. Freshman from Don Bosco Prep, and maybe they're moving Grimes back up top to midfield as he's drawing the short stick with McGillicuddy.
By the way, it's now 6 of 11 on the day for Callahan. He has done a really nice job in relief. It's starting to feel like must-convert territory for Johns Hopkins. Got to come to life. It seems daunting. In the shot clock era, we've seen teams make these types of comebacks. You can't do it if you're throwing the ball away, however.
Yeah, uncharacteristic play there by Grimes. Maybe caused by the approach by Middleton, who took a nice, clean approach. Made it a little bit difficult for Grimes to decide, do I want to dodge or do I need to be a passer?
Greyhounds get it back. A little bit sloppy, but Bean able to scoop it right back up. Carries it over himself. Loyola's got the clear.
I just think McGillicuddy's done some really nice things for Loyola, as it always happens. He now throws it into the turf.
Well done.
So
he's looking for McCullough.
Yeah, looking for McCullough. But outside of that, I think he's had a really clean game.
And I agree with you for the record. Just not the right timing.
Loyola back on defense once again after stifling another long possession by Hopkins previously. 3:20 left to go here in the third period.
Another opportunity to find some life for the Blue Jays. Make this thing interesting going into the fourth quarter. Phillips sends it back behind. Johns Hopkins moved into the top 10 this week in both polls. After that thrilling win over Georgetown, come from behind fashion in the second half.
Boy, Hopkins had Loyola spinning defensively for a while there.
Ball still has to be found. And it'll be scooted out. Nice job of goosing that one into safety, allowing Hughes to get it. Hughes was trying to give it right back to Middleton, but thankfully there was another white shirt behind him, and Mustang Sally's going to get rewarded with his second goal of the year.
Well, I think that starts with Hughes, if I'm not correct, as he gets the ground ball. It does a nice job finding the open man, and then Rizanka carries it and finds Sally. It may look like an easy shot to convert there, Glenn, but easier said than done, particularly if you're a short stick D midi that's not used to shooting. Does a real nice job forcing Marcio to come out of the cage and then going offside high.
Mustang Sally's second goal of the season, second goal of his career. Razanka with his second assist on the year.
Really great, two great defensive stands for the Greyhounds there. As Hopkins in that last one, I thought had Loyola very off balance, but they were to regain that balance and make another great defensive stand, resulting in a goal for Sally.
Loyola's scored 4 straight here in the third quarter. That was Catone out there for this face-off and winning it for the Greyhounds. I mentioned Hopkins moved in the top 10 last week. Loyola was number 12 in the coaches poll this week, number 9 in the media poll. I think they're going to be comfortably in the top 10 of both polls unless something crazy happens in the next 17 minutes.
Nice ball reversal there by Loyola offensively. Here's a matchup it looks like they might want to exploit. Higgins with the short stick.
No, he's got space in front of him. Doesn't force the issue. Still 30 seconds on the shot clock. Hung up in trouble. A good job to keep moving by McCullough, and because of that, Evan James is able to get free.
So Loyola, you've seen that multiple times today for Loyola, is if they're able to get to the inside of the field and cause Hopkins to slide early, you see that cut come from the inside, as you just saw in that last possession. James doing a nice job here, going 3/4 to beat Marcille. Great offense there by McCullough, a freshman who hasn't played a lot so far this year.
And the lefty giving him some good minutes in the second half today. McCullough's first career point on the assist. And for James, second goal, third point of the day. 5th and 6th on the year, respectively. Hopkins trying to get a quick response. Degnan not able to get that on target. Quite the statement the Greyhounds are making. No doubt the Blue Jays are depleted. They're down a couple of their top attackmen today. But if there was a question about whether or not there was anything fluky about Loyola's season opening win over Maryland, they're making a pretty declarative statement that that's not the case today.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there, Glenn. I mean, it's pretty difficult to come off a big win against Maryland, and I know you probably saw this, but boy, seemed like highlights were all over Instagram all week. And so it'd be pretty easy for them to see that constantly, as you see another great save there. And Loyola now doing a great job moving the ball in the middle of the field.
Stout denying Bauer, gets it back for the Hounds under a minute to play. Open in the middle of the field, McGillicuddy, but not able to convert.
Really no need for that.
He was open, right?
32 seconds though, but you created offense now for Hopkins, and you just don't need to do that right now. He's back in on defense, so I get it. Scored earlier, Loyola a little bit of a run, but you have to make those smart decisions over and over and over again if you want to have a successful season.
Hopkins trying to get one before the quarter comes to a close. They have not scored here in the third. Move to the middle. Peshko denied. Degnan, however, Garrett Degnan with 3.8 seconds left in the quarter on the rebound, puts it home.
How did that possession start?
Because he took a shot that wasn't necessary.
32 seconds to go. You have a 9-goal lead. No need to take that shot.
Garrett Degnan gets his first goal today, his 5th of the season, and the 80th goal of his career, and that was not Stout, that was the post. For Degnan now, 17 consecutive games with a goal.
You can see Coach Van Arsdale talking to McGillicuddy right now. I'm assuming he's saying some version is what I've been saying.
Face-off win, but just having to let it rip from well out was Callahan, and that will be how the quarter comes to a close. That last goal about the only thing that didn't go right for Loyola in
That is true, but it gives
3.
Coach Toomey an opportunity to have something to talk about during this break in the action.
A lot of good for the Greyhounds. They outscore the Blue Jays 5-1 in quarter number 3. They're in front 11-3 as we head to the 4th. You're watching the Patriot League on ESPN. wherever you go, live games on ESPN Plus or through the ESPN app. For more details, visit watchespn.com or visit patriotleague.com under the Media Center tab for more details as well. 11-3 Loyola in front of Johns Hopkins as we start the fourth quarter. Glenn Clark, Chris Gunkel with you from Ridley Athletic Complex in Baltimore. Loyola outshot Hopkins 13-7 in the third quarter, outground balled them 13-6, and they outscored them 5-1 as they stretched out this lead. The only real, issue, to your point, Chris, being just a couple of seemingly mental mistakes from the Greyhounds there in quarter number 3.
Mental mistakes, maybe. With that being said, showing a little bit more patience in those decisions.
We head back to the dot. Callahan and Pacheco, face-off violation, first of the second half for Johns Hopkins. The Greyhounds, with the big lead, have the ball. I want to go back to something you said a minute ago, that here everybody was telling Loyola how great they were all week, right? They become the first team to win a regular season game against Maryland since before the pandemic. And after the game was over, Charlie Toomey referenced that Johns Hopkins started the season by going down on the road and beating a good Jacksonville team, right, who turned around, beat Duke. We know Jacksonville's for real, as that's wide. And they followed it up. He said they handled their success. Everybody was, giving them some attaboys, and they turned around and they were able to beat. And he pointed that out. As much as they were celebrating, oh my word, in front and stuffing it at home, the freshman, Minikis, his second of the day, makes a 12-3.
Yeah, maybe another surprise there, surprise goal there for Loyola, as Minikis really hasn't shown the ability to win that matchup all day, but he does off the restart. As you'll see here, just beats his matchup clean and goes low to low. Difficult there for Marcio as Minikis just beats him to the spot.
And let me follow that up. He was very declarative. We've got to prove that we can handle success. And I think that's a big story about today, that there was no letdown. There was no, hey, we're really good. We know we can just get away with doing anything. They rose to the occasion once again for a big matchup today against Johns Hopkins.
Yeah, they certainly have so far. With 14 minutes left to go here in the fourth period. I mean, let's just say, Glenn, that this continues in this fashion. But they're going to have to do that again, right? Next week, going up to Rutgers and playing a really fantastic Scarlet Knight program.
Well, to your point, 1 or 2 good wins non-conference does not guarantee you a spot in the NCAA tournament.
Nope, not anymore.
Shot wide off the stick of Collison.
But you want these big games, right, over and over and over again, make you, as they say, battle-tested as you move towards the end of the year. So if a coach has their preference, I think if you'd ask Coach Toomey, he would say, I would prefer to have a big game against a formidable opponent because it allows me to get the attention of my players more easily.
Right now, Loyola's got the attention of the college lacrosse world. Still work to do to finish this one off, leading 12-3. Collison picks it back up. Spins back free inside and scores.
Wow, you don't see that often. You got to really credit Collison there, as Rizanka was doing his best to not let him back into the inside, and maybe almost too much as he loses his balance somewhat as he's trying to force Collison out, as you see right here, applying pressure. Collison does a nice job handling that and then rolling and slide. Difficult for the slide to get there quickly. Great job there by Collison.
Second of the day, back-to-back multi-goal games for Collison. He had 2 in the loss to Carolina on Tuesday. He's got 2 today. Cuts it to 12-4. Quick face-off win for Pacheco. He had a step, but no reason. Clock's your friend,
nice
obviously.
Toe
backs
drag,
it out.
toe drag there by the face-off man.
Nice bounce back today from Pacheco.
Yeah, absolutely. Face-offs look to be almost about even, Glenn, but he's done a nice job at big moments winning the draws when Loyola really needed it.
As a team, they're 11 of 20 today. A couple of those were Catone. I believe he's 10 of 19. I'll double check that. But after struggling against, a world-class face-off specialist in Luke Weirman in week 1, In fact, Pacheco 10 of 16 on the day today for Loyola. So really positive sign for someone who's taken over, of course, after the better part of a decade, the Savio brothers, Bailey and Graham.
17 seconds left on this possession, current possession for Loyola.
Minikis settles, 10 seconds. Now looks to engage, trying to get a screen from Bateman. Goes right back to him. Bateman in front. Ooh, they had something. It was Haberman on the doorstep, just not able to connect.
Yeah, Haberman put to the turf. I thought they might have drawn a penalty there. Yeah, I've been critical at times on Minikis today, but in reality, Loyola asks him to do an awful lot, you know, as a freshman, playing against really big-time world-class opponents.
You pointed out, he's seen a lot of Mazzone today. One of the best in the country. Hopkins is going to find any way back into this game. And got to get a couple of goals here. They're not even going to get a shot there. Is trying to get free was Bauer.
Yeah, great job there. You see the veteran play there of Wires on the trail check.
There's a committee effort there, collapsing on him. Collison working against Sally. Trying to get free. He loaded up like he wanted to let it rip.
Nice job there by Razanko on the slide. Prohibiting him from having any kind of angle to get his hands free.
Mustang Sally all over Grimes. Grimes able to hold on to it, however, and hits the pipe.
I think Stout might have actually got that one, Glenn.
Did he?
He did, but
he
boy,
did.
Just see
You're right.
How difficult it is for a short stick D midi to have to play in this era of lacrosse, between the size and athleticism and speed of current offensive players, but then the ability to dodge and redodge really puts a lot of pressure on that short stick D midi. In my opinion, maybe the most difficult position in all of lacrosse.
So demanding. That's the 9th save of the day for Stout after 19 in the season opener last week. Flag comes out. Apparently someone was in the crease, so they stopped play. 10:29 remaining in the fourth. Greyhounds will go on the extra man. It'll be their 4th extra man opportunity of the day. They're 2 for 3 so far.
So it's an interference penalty on number 91.
Yeah, Ruddy.
Jack Ruddy. 30-second penalty here for Loyola. Again, Glenn, it's hard to get a shot on a 30-second penalty. No really need to do that right now if you're Loyola.
Especially with an 8-goal advantage.
Now, what Hopkins might do is put you in a position to think you have something close in to try to get possession back. I mean, when you have such a great goalie, you can do that.
Right now, Loyola content to keep it moving, not forcing anything to the middle. James is in there. And that's knocked down. Hound's fortunate to get it back as Patra finds it. He was free, and again, he doesn't force anything. They don't get a shot off on the extra man. It's killed off. So Loyola now 2 for 4 with the extra man today. Keep it moving. Lindsay from a tough angle.
But the Loyola might have drawn another penalty there with a shot to the head on Higgins, but that does not happen. But great job there for Loyola to maintain possession.
15 seconds left on the shot clock. Patra steps through, and again, no angle. Gets the reset on the save, but they won't get the ball back. As that ground ball scooped up by Todaro.
See, Loyola can stay organized here. Unsettled situation. It was really a nice job there by Brett Martin, the junior out of Half Hollow Hills East. Tough pass for him to receive on the clear. Does a nice job getting his body in front of it. Hopkins with the possession. Just under 9 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter.
Chavette. Hopkins again. Got to get goals. Got to get them in a hurry. It's the beauty of the sport. You can play, make it, take it. You're never really out of it. But at some point, mathematically, it just sort of becomes an impossibility. they're getting there. Bauer working from X. Gets
So
the
they have
switch.
the matchup there with Bauer on McGillicuddy if they want it. I don't know if they've recognized it.
It's a tough shot. Chauvet not on target. Still 15 seconds remaining on the possession clock. Chauvet trying to get free. Tough running shot. Does not touch the pipe or Luke Stout. So just 7 seconds left. Bauer picks it up. Gotta go in a hurry. 2 seconds. Bauer's not even gonna get a shot off. Loyola kills off 80 seconds.
That's a nice defensive stand by that stout Loyola defense. Unfortunate there that Hopkins doesn't get a shot off there at the end.
And the Greyhounds get it back with 8 minutes to play in this fourth quarter. Boy, that was dangerous. And you were asking for this last week. It doesn't work out this time, but if you're in trouble, and that you weren't necessarily in trouble there, I don't think that was necessary.
Yeah. James tries to go long with that. I don't know if he realized that Marcio had actually come out to play Minikis. Another possession here for Hopkins as they're going to start going to a 10-man ride to try to get more possessions. Loyola may be shifting into a zone here, Glenn.
Well, and as we pointed out, Maryland had a lot of success last week in the 10-man ride in the second half. You assume Loyola continues to struggle against it. Teams are going to look at that and keep trying to replicate it. Bauer sends it up top. Good movement, tough angle, and that's not a goal. Stout finds that one, but he just as quickly throws it away. Was not on the same page with Luke Murphy.
I mean, this is, I don't know if this is systemic or not, but similar to last week, struggling to close out games by just committing a lot of unforced errors, as it doesn't look like Sherwood was even looking for that pass.
You're right, it was Sherwood, not Murphy. And I think that's what Charlie Toomey wants to talk about right now as he takes a timeout. 7:02 to play. Loyola still in front by a lot, 12-4. You're watching the Patriot League on ESPN. Need to purchase that special gift? Visit PatriotLeagueStore.com to buy Patriot League Championship apparel and merchandise from your favorite Patriot League school. That's PatriotLeagueStore.com. 7:02 to play in the fourth quarter. Loyola on top of Johns Hopkins 12-4. Glenn Clark, Chris Gunkel. Don't forget, Loyola and Johns Hopkins women's lacrosse coming up next. See a great crowd that stuck around despite this being a lopsided game in the fourth quarter. Planning on rooting on their respective women's teams coming up a little bit later on. Hope you'll Come right back to ESPN Plus for that one. Chris, seems like there's still a lesson to be learned for Loyola about closing games early on this season.
It would seem that way, Glenn, is they seem to have struggled in executing just some of the basics late in games, particularly when they have the lead.
Collison. It's not impossible if Hopkins could get one or two here. Just don't know about the decision on that shot, however. That ball will stay on this side of midfield.
Still 30 seconds left on the shot clock for Hopkins.
I certainly get that you're feeling the pressure. If there's any path back into this game, you got to score goals, but you can't just throw anything in Cage. That one won't get on goal.
That was a really nice offensive set there for Hopkins. Loyola got lucky with a trail check, but
Bean was beat, and that allows Brendan Grimes to get free.
yeah, you see Loyola's defense getting a really heavy dose of down screens and picks with the offensive player trying to get to the middle of the field. And they did so successfully there as Grimes gets to the middle. When he gets his hands free, he has a rocket of a left-hand shot. 12-5 now, Loyola with 5:53 left to go in the fourth.
Second goal of the day, fifth goal of the season for the Lutherville native, Brendan Grimes, from the boys Latin program. 12-5. Hopkins has scored a couple here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and it feels like Loyola's played a lot of defense here. So this is a big face-off. Nice job there.
Pacheco, very clean.
Pacheco, let's see, though, if he can handle it.
And he's working his way through, goes on Cage, turned aside by Marcille. You okay with the shot there?
Not really.
Okay.
Again, I think you two men open up top. He did exactly what Hopkins wanted him to do as a face-off man. Gain possession and try to convert on Marcille. If he doesn't, which he didn't, and they get rebound, potentially fast break the other way.
13th save of the day for Marcille. Now
they
Hopkins,
pulled him out of the cage.
Yep. Continuing the run, and that's a wide open net. Taken advantage of by Austin Cote.
You live by the sword, you die by the sword, Glenn, and that's
you got to do it.
You have no choice but to do that. As Austin Cote converts, I thought he might have waited just a step too long, but he does not. As Loyola now pushes that advantage back up to 8 goals. As you see him get in on the inside, Marcille just a little bit too late, and I think that slide there at the end caused an injury, and we can't tell exactly who is hurt at this point for Hopkins.
I'm trying to figure that out right now. I cannot see if it. The concern. Well, it's a concern if it's anybody.
You had two players run into each other right at the pipe.
Let's congratulate Cote. That's his first career goal.
I was
giving
wondering if it
Loyola some
was.
good minutes today in the second half.
That might be Marcille that's
what
down.
I was thinking.
And hopefully he's going to be okay. He's played a whale of a game today and really kept his Hopkins team in this as much as he can.
Of course, harkens back to images of last week. Logan McNaney, the All-American goalie for Loyola, who was injured late in that game, and we now know will be out for the season. You hope Tim Marcille not seriously hurt in that moment. He's helped off the field, but that becomes a major storyline now for Johns Hopkins moving forward, as well as Tim Marcille has played, and he has been.
Yeah, and I can't tell as he walks off if it's his legs or he's holding his head. He may have had like a head go into the other player's leg, which is, if you have not done that before, Glenn, that can
not fun.
That is not fun, to your point.
13 saves today for Marcille, 13 or more in all 4 games this year. Hopkins will have it off the violation. First face-off violation in the second half for the Greyhounds. The new Johns Hopkins goalie is Gib Versfeld. 6'4", 215-pound graduate student from Langhorne, Pennsylvania, by way of the Hun School. His first action this season. Under 5 minutes to play in an 8-goal game, 13-5. And
now, you might find this very hard to believe. I actually know Gib, as my son, and I coach for the Crabs. My son plays for the Crabs, a local travel here in Baltimore, and he has come and helped us with the goaltenders.
Very cool. Very cool.
really nice guy.
And by the way, a new goalie for Loyola as well. That's Freeman Whitaker, who came in during that stoppage. Luke Stout's day is done. And the flag will come out. And some bad blood brewing. Peyton Razanka earns the foul call.
Well, the one referee doesn't realize that there's a flag down, and so
he was trying to restart.
He's waving off the flag, so it's going to be a restart there.
Okay.
For Loyola. You know, you mentioned Freeman Whitaker. Coach Toomey is really high on him. I think he is more than a suitable replacement when needed for Stout.
And he played a good bit last year. Whitaker is going to take a shot. Not able to get it through. I guess that wasn't really a shot.
Looks like he was trying to go to Haberman. I thought he might have had more time than maybe he thought.
I thought he could have taken a couple more steps, too.
I thought so as well.
Go under 4 minutes to play.
But, you know, to that point, this is his first action of the year.
Sure.
And again, the result of this contest is confirmed. But still, you have to execute, and it's not always easy doing that, particularly in a 10-man clearing ride situation.
Whitaker in his career has made now 18 saves, allowed 23 goals. He's played a good bit. Graduate student from Oakwood, Ohio, by way of Oakwood High School. Getting some minutes here at the end of the game. And no, I'm not surprised at all, really, that you know Gib Versfeld, because I'm never surprised by the fact that you know anyone, Chris Gunkel.
I thought you were going to say you are surprised that I know someone.
No, not at all. Every time.
That was a great job there by Sally on the double
Really
goal
good
line
job.
Extended. Let's see if Loyola can handle this pressure. Nice job there by Minikis. He kept moving his feet, but he came to the ball to get away from pressure.
And interesting, they're leaving Versfeld in the cage here, essentially waving the white flag. And maybe after you see what happens to Marcel, you say, discretion the better part of valor.
Great. That's a very, very good point. He may not be as athletic as Marcel, so you might be creating more offense by having him out of the cage. But to your point, you see the injury. At this point, why do it?
New face out there, Najee Taylor, trying to play keep away for the Greyhounds. Taylor, the senior from Illinois. Under 20 seconds on the possession clock.
Loyola might have drawn a penalty there on that, but they do not. But great job there by Minikis hanging in there on the ride.
After Juronsky had taken it away.
I mean, hey.
Interesting, Juronsky with the long pole now. And, ooh, very nearly. Did it go over? They're going to say, yes, count it.
Yeah, great job there by Juronsky. You know, Loyola does not take body there. They opt to try to swing sticks and let Juronsky split that double team. As I thought Whitaker may have made the save, but he does not. Look at that face dodge there. Old school face dodge. He learned that when he was like 6 years old, and probably thought, why am I doing this?
Right.
This is not going to be relevant at all in my career, as most kids say these days, and it all comes back to fruition.
I believe that is the first career goal for Hunter Juronsky. Cuts it to 13-6, under 2 minutes to play. And it looked like Whitaker kind of knew that the ball had gone over the line, but was still trying to sell the idea of, no, I got that.
Yeah, he was trying to clear it quickly. Kind of like you see in the NFL before that review comes in.
Right, yeah, line them up.
Yeah, line them up.
Snap the
Get
ball.
rolling. Wholesale substitutions in now for both teams.
Degnan.
Nice job there. Nice positioning there by Whitaker. He had to go from right to left, thwarting that shot there by Degnan. Local product from DeMatha. Grimes kind of takes a wild one there to try to get Hopkins on the board again, down 13-6 with 1:10 left to go here in the fourth.
With Degnan coming off that huge game a couple games ago against Georgetown, he's a very dangerous scorer. 40 goals a year ago. Loyola did a really nice job on Degnan today.
Yeah, they really did. Well, the defense did a great job as a whole, as you see Sherwood now
Bauer to Grimes up top. Grimes steps down. Boy, he held on to that for...
May have waited too long, and I think that allowed Josh Ferry to get a stick on it as Ferry now goes to play the ball. But, yeah, Glenn, you said it. Loyola really handled their business today.
Yep.
Handled this very maturely in front of a really large crowd. And it really shows their maturity for a really young team as you see Degnan convert with 38 seconds to go to get Hopkins on the board with their 7th goal.
Second of the day for Degnan, 7th of the season.
Inside feed, Degnan, quick stick, offside against Whitaker, but really great job by Loyola.
Yep. Workman-like effort today. Phillips gets the assist, his first of the year and his 3rd point on the season. 38 seconds to play, 13-7.
And yet, to be fair, Hopkins was depleted, missing 2 starters.
No question.
Would have been interesting to see how that would have impacted the game. But as we discussed prior to this game, sometimes that can cause a team, in this case like Loyola, to not play as hard, not be as focused.
Sure.
We didn't see that at all. They were focused from the opening face-off right until now.
They have looked like a team that has been determined, on a mission. Matt Hughes told me earlier in the week, they're very aware of the fact that the 2012 National Championship team was not ranked before the season. They know it can be done. A couple of good fakes, bounce shot, won't go for Bauer.
Yeah,
10
nice
seconds
job
to
there
play.
by Whitaker. You know, again, coming in as, you know, when the game is not in doubt, but showing that, hey, if called upon, he can really handle business.
Stuart Phillips will pat the stats with 1 second remaining. First goal today, 3rd of the year, 2nd point of the contest, 4th of the season.
Kind of giving that Hopkins band an opportunity late in this contest to
they're going to stick around.
Strut their
yeah,
stuff.
They're going to stick around for the women's game. They're going to grind it out. Hadn't heard a lot from them. I was watching the Carolina game. Not a lot of them made it out on a Tuesday night for the Carolina game, but adding some to the atmosphere here as this one will go final. Loyola improves to 2-0 on the season. They defeat Johns Hopkins 13-8 here at Ridley Athletic Complex.
Yeah, really, again, we said multiple times, impressive victory by Loyola, but impressive job by the coaching staff putting them in a position to execute and do that today. We spoke to Coach Toomey before face-off, and he was concerned. He didn't feel like they had a great week of practice. If anything, Tuesday was a productive day. So he didn't know what he was going to find with his team as they started playing today. But I would assume he's been very pleasantly surprised.
No, it was a great effort from Loyola. A couple of mental mistakes in the 3rd quarter, but save for that. And then throwing the ball away a little bit in the 4th on the 10-man ride. Some things still to clean up, as they've got a very difficult game next Saturday again, continuing this Big Ten stretch when they travel to Rutgers.
So now you try to find out how does my team handle success, but now how do they handle success on the road, because we'll have to travel, you know, on Friday, and you know that some challenges associated with that. We'll have to practice and be responsible once we're in the hotel. So this is a good opportunity to assess where Loyola is at this point.
Yeah, it'll be their first road game of the year next Saturday in Piscataway. Loyola actually ended up finishing even in the shots department as Johns Hopkins got a few there at the end of the game. 38-38 ends up being the final tally when it comes to shots on the day. As far as some of the other statistics from today's game, Greyhounds outground ball Johns Hopkins 36-30, and in between the pipes, a solid day for Luke Stout again. He allowed just 5 goals, made 10 saves in the victory. Give Tim Marcille credit before he got hurt. 13 saves, he allowed 13 goals. I want to thank everyone who made our broadcast possible today. The sports information departments of both schools, Ernie LaRossa leading the way at Hopkins, Ryan Agenbrode here at Loyola. Gerard Richardson, Terry McClung, Jason Johnson, Devin O'Hara, Trey Hammer, Jordan Mann, Matt Stovall, Zach McClung, Jordan Fisher, Patrick Say, Jamel Stand, and Sadiq Coakley. Great work, all of you. Chris Gunkel, always a pleasure. See you in a couple weeks, my friend.
I'll see you soon, Glenn.
For the entire team, I am Glenn Clark. Again, your final score here today, Loyola 13, Johns Hopkins 8. Don't forget, Loyola Hopkins Women's Lacrosse later this afternoon. The Patriot League is on ESPN.